All right, everyone, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. Going to be breaking down the Week 10 lineup builder here for you guys, touching on everything that you need to know for the slate, giving you guys my core plays, my favorite lineup process builds, as well as giving you guys values, some stacks, and some ownership leverage with some fades. Let's go and get into it. So first and foremost, let's just talk about kind of my lineup process for this week as it sits right now. I'm really keying in on 3 running backs, and the first one's going to be Saquon Barkley going against Dallas. So Dallas obviously ruled out Dak. He's going to be out for the season. That means they're going to be starting Cooper Rush. I think he's kind of a good kind of backup quarterback in this league. I don't think that's too hopeless, I guess, for Dallas Cowboys fans, but it is a step down from Dak most likely. And so with that, we are expecting this game to be a game in which the Eagles win. Thus, they're going to be playing with the lead. Thus, Barkley should be in for another high workload game. If he's not, maybe get some more targets, but at the same time, I do think that this is a game in which the Eagles are going to be winning. Thus, I think Saquon Barkley is one of the best lineup starting points that we can be going with. Now, I do really like looking at Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, heck, even Alvin Kamara in his matchup as well. The issue that I have with them is the price tag that's associated with them, especially compared to some of the other players that we have. So one player that I really like is actually looking at Aaron Jones in a great matchup there going against the Jacksonville Jaguars. My one concern here with this play is the simple fact that they are going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, a defense that has just struggled immensely regardless of which position is. It could be a game in which the passing game just eats. Maybe TJ Hawkinson has a really good game. Maybe Justin Jefferson goes off, and attached to that, maybe Sam Darnold has a good game as well. So in lineups where I'm playing Aaron Jones, I might not play Sam Darnold. At the same time, I guess it wouldn't be too shocking to see a lucky random touchdown go to Aaron Jones from Sam Darnold. That could happen. Maybe that's a GPP lineup that you want. But for now, I'm going to be playing Aaron Jones. Should give us a nice high floor, at least 20 opportunities in this game. Love the snaps that he's been getting as well. Now, there is going to be another running back that I want to look at as well. DeAndre Swift. So Swift actually saw a slight decrease in his snaps last week. I think that's mostly just due to the game and the game flow. They could not get really much going last week. That is a concern to me. But the one bright spot that they truly had, again, was DeAndre Swift. Had 6 targets, 6 receptions. Love that there. Still had around 20 opportunities in this game. Still had an over 60% snap share, which at this price tag in this matchup against New England, a defense that has struggled to stop the run or just opposing running backs, I'm going to be happy to play Swift. Hopefully Caleb Williams will look a little bit better so it doesn't hurt DeAndre Swift's ceiling. So from there, we'll jump on into the receivers. Again, there's a lot that we could kind of look at here, so I don't mind Justin Jefferson. I think he's going to be a good play this week. Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, sure, you could play them as well, but for playing Barkley, don't want to play those two. Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams are both gaining a lot of ownership, okay? And we'll talk about ownership right now. And so at the receiver position, we are gaining a lot of chalk on this slate. DeAndre Hopkins, 20%. Josh Downs, about 15%. A lot of people are paying up for Justin Jefferson. Ladd McConkey. People are getting FOMO from one of our favorite plays last week. If you guys missed that, make sure to be signing up to get email alerts when I post a new write-up. You can do that by scrolling down to the bottom of the 9 to 5 homepage. They'll give you guys access to those write-ups, and really just shows you guys all the kind of information and tools that are laid out per day or per week on the website. But that was a play I would assume most of you guys kind of hopefully looked at and saw. Yeah, I don't know if I exactly like him in that matchup against Tennessee. I know the defense hasn't been as good lately, but still a defense that does worry me slightly. And so looking at it, it does seem like a lot of people are going with either Garrett Wilson or Devontae Adams in their builds. And I think it's just go with the one that's the cheapest, and that's Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams had 11 targets in that game last week. He obviously was getting tested for concussion. He came back and really just looked good as well. I think the chemistry was there for Adams, and I think that's going to continue. And it's not a bad matchup there going against Arizona. So I'm favoring more Devontae Adams there. The issue is I think this is where we're probably going to get some of our value on the slate is in some of the receiver spots. So I do agree with the DeAndre Hopkins chalk. That is chalk that I think we should be eating. From there, I don't know if we exactly need to do eat chalk as much. So DeAndre Hopkins is going to firmly play him. I know a lot of people like Josh Downs. I'm kind of okay with that if you guys wanted to get there against Buffalo. Buffalo has been a little bit better defensively, but yeah, Downs has had a lot of targets. I actually think we could go with some of the value that we have at the receiver position. And you guys might be wondering what that is. Well, Sterling Shepard, if Jalen McMillan is out, that's going to be a good value for us. I think that's a good spot for him. I do like that price tag on him. That'd be a cheap, 10 or so DraftKings points, which if we're paying up for Barkley, we're going to want to do that. And maybe you're someone that wants to pay up for Justin Jefferson as well. That's a good way to allow you to do that. I think Juwan Jennings is going to be a good GPP play for you if you guys want to go that route. But Parker Washington, again, referring to the write-up from last week, he was a player that I was on a decent amount last week just just because of his price tag and the potential role that he'd be seeing. Ended up seeing 6 targets in that game, 7 DraftKings points there, and he looked good. He continued to look good. I don't think he's that much of a drop-off from Christian Kirk, and you get him in a decent matchup going against Minnesota. The fact that we're still getting him at under 4K and most likely locking in at least 7 points, that does seem to be his floor, and I like that. We should be looking at 10 DraftKings points there. So I'm still on the Parker Washington train because that allows me then to pay up for some of the other better spots that we have on this slate. And for what it's worth, guys, he did end up playing 85% of the snaps, which was a slight increase from 74 the last week or the previous week, and that was obviously because Christian Kirk was out. So good matchup, 85% of the snaps, 6 targets at least. Very strong floor there at a cheap price tag. And what's crazy, guys, is like he's kind of owned, but I would have assumed that he'd be higher owned than he is. Like Sterling Shepard's getting a higher percentage of ownership than is Parker Washington. So I do think that that's a good spot for us. And then for the lineup process, I'm going to leave the receiver spot open. We're going to jump on into the tight ends. So the tight ends are, I would say, a little bit difficult on the slate. I know Travis Kelce has been really good lately, and I do love him as a play this week. The issue is that we also have George Kittle in a better matchup in a just as good of a spot. The thing with the Niners is whenever one of the big 3 has been out, we just know to target the other 2. So Deebo Samuel is one of them, obviously. And then George Kittle has been the other one. George Kittle has been a stud. His production has not been shocking at all. Again, given that Brandon Ayuk has been out. But we also had that exact same situation. I shouldn't say it. We don't have that exact same situation, but we do have some other like good GPP plays in some good spots. One of those is going to be TJ Hawkinson, who I expect to get more snaps in this game. Again, he gets a good matchup going against Jacksonville. He's a little bit higher price than I would like, 4.7. That's a little bit too high priced. Taysom Hill, last week I wrote up as like a great GPP option, ends up getting a rushing touchdown in that game. He is kind of like their running back too, really. That's kind of how they're using him to supplement Alvin Kamara. He gets high quality touches is basically the way to look at it. So he had, 10 opportunities, 9 total touches last week, but one of them was an opportunity to score a touchdown. And so I do think he is someone that still stands out as a GPP play at 4K. I think we could really be gaining some good value there. And so I know he was a letdown last week, but I don't mind Noah Gray if you guys are trying to find a value tight end play. He's been playing, since the Rashid Rice injury, been playing about 67% of the snaps as a floor. And so I still think he's going to be someone that we can look at. He was open a bunch last week. I think they might look at the film and see, all right, he's not getting any attention. Let's look for him as a play. And I actually don't mind him as a sneaky kind of pivot off of DeAndre Hopkins, who is chalk. And no one's going to be on him. It's a good kind of value pivot away from that. Now, do you have to go crazy with that idea? No. But Hopkins looking like the highest owned receiver on the slate. This is a unique way to gain some leverage on the field where, again, just watching the film, Gray was open a lot. Played a lot of snaps. They do like to spread out the wealth, and maybe you would argue it's all right, it's his turn this week. Now, I don't think we have to go crazy with that. He's at a price tag in which you don't have to go crazy with that, but I did want to call that out because, it could be a value spot. And so with that, I kind of think that that's a spot in which we could also be, looking to, kind of close out our builds with. So let's jump into the quarterbacks. So the quarterbacks, I just want to show you guys the leverage page here. And one of the best leverage quarterback plays that we have is going to be Sam Darnold. So Sam Darnold gets a great matchup going against Jacksonville. And again, I kind of think you could get away with stacking him with Aaron Jones. That'd be a unique way to stack him. That'd be a potential GPP winning way to stack him. But obviously Justin Jefferson could do that. And then one of maybe Naylor, but probably just Jordan Addison. But I would rather just go TJ Hawkinson. So a decent way to stack that. You do have Mac Jones looking like he's going to start in that game going against Minnesota at just a cheap price tag. Like it doesn't take much for him to really have a good game. He's projected to get 14 fantasy points. And if he does that, that is a great value proposition for us there. And it would honestly be another way to kind of stack that game. Like we go Mac Jones, Parker Washington, play Justin Jefferson, could play Aaron Jones, and you could honestly get away with playing TJ Hawkinson as well there. Like I really don't hate that idea. From there, Brock Purdy gets a great matchup, and that kind of leads me into some of the stacks. So obviously when we're looking at quarterbacks, we're mostly looking at stacks. We do have the Philadelphia Eagles looking like the best stacking option. I don't think that would shock anyone. Obviously Jalen Hurts in a good matchup. We got Devonta Smith, AJ Brown. Like that team as a whole, yes, they're most likely going to put up a lot of points. But then we have Brock Purdy. Okay, obviously Christian McCaffrey being back is kind of big for this offense. The question then becomes, how much is he going to play? And how much will that affect George Kittle or Deebo Samuel? I don't think it's going to change all too much in week one. So I think if we're playing Brock Purdy, we can still run out the simple stack of Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. And then after that, we have Sam Darnold as the Minnesota Vikings are the third best stacking option that we have, which to me tells us really all we need to know about this week. That is an awesome stack. Now, I do want to talk about a player that is gaining a little bit of leverage in this the next stack and opportunity that we have, which is kind of looking at the Atlanta Falcons. And that's Drake London. Drake London is getting some chalk at the receiver position, and I'm just a little bit worried that coming in off of that kind of hip injury, maybe he just re-aggravates it, and that does concern me slightly. I'm not overly worried about it, but it's to the point where I probably will be underweight on Drake London a little bit. So for me, guys, quarterback is going to be simply 2 quarterback plays in terms of cash lineups. I'm either going to be playing Brock Purdy at 6.5, and I would agree he should be the priority over Sam Darnold, but both of them are firmly in play. Like, it doesn't really matter to me which one we end up on. I just think Brock Purdy with CMC there is probably just more likely to succeed. Like, just that offense should be more likely to succeed. That being said, it's not anything crazy. Like, I really don't mind either. And yes, the ceiling is a little bit capped, but still, I think we're going to be getting to 20 points with Brock Purdy or Sam Darnold. So from there, guys, DST-wise, I kind of don't mind the idea of just going with Denver. You guys know by now my strategy is to play the lowest price defense that's not going to go negative, and I do think that that's Denver. Now, we'll run the lineup optimizer, see if that agrees, but for now, I'm okay with it. Does worry me that against Baltimore, they just got crushed, but we know the Kansas City offense has really been more of the Tom Brady type of offense where it's not trying to do elite production. It's just trying to do elite time of possession and elite kind of winning offensive philosophy where they're trying to get to 3rd and 2. They're just trying to sustain drives, get themselves into scoring position. And so with that does leave a DST to not give up a lot of points typically. So I don't mind that idea. Now, another DST that I don't mind is going to be the Bills, who have been much better recently. And then obviously you do have the Colts, who for some reason did not give Jonathan Taylor a lot of work. I just don't see how they watch the film and say, yeah, that was a good idea. It was just stupid. Terrible game plan. So that does worry me a little bit. That is the weakness of the Buffalo Bills defense. But, I don't hate them. But look at this, guys. Like, look at what they're averaging. 7.7 fantasy points. And that's really just due to a good start against Miami without Tua and Jacksonville, where they were terrible. And so those are outliers. And so that's kind of where I'm like, all right, just go Denver for now. Maybe you could go Chicago DST. I know a lot of people are going to like that against New England. I guess I'll go Chicago for now. We'll see what the kind of lineup process is from there. So we got a decent amount left over for receiver and a decent amount left over for tight end. Let's see what we can do here. I don't mind Khalil Shakir, honestly, with Keon Coleman out. He's had a nice floor. I just worry about the ceiling at that kind of higher price tag. Courtland Sutton as well, I should mention, guys. Courtland Sutton's volume has been insane this whole season. He's like top 10 in targets. 10 targets last week, 11 targets the week before that. And that's coming in off of a game against the Saints where he didn't get that many targets. Now, much more difficult matchup here against KC. But they are a defense that tends to keep everything in front, which is really how Courtland Sutton has been able to succeed a decent amount this year. So I don't mind that price tag. I think I'm kind of fine betting on him there, as some of that could have a good game, maybe GPP-wise. Quentin Johnson as well, a good GPP option. But in terms of like cash, I'm kind of wanting to go Jalen McMillan or Sterling Shepard. If McMillan is out, I probably will just go with Sterling Shepard. That leaves us with a ton of salary left over at the tight end position, which is kind of a weird dead zone. Like, Trey McBride has had a great floor, but he really hasn't had that breakout game, and I just don't see that happening this week in that matchup. And so if I can get up to Kelsey, I'm kind of okay with that, and that's where, like, going down from the Bears DST, I might just end up doing that, and so that's where I might just end up going with the Broncos DST. I don't love it, but I might do that. It doesn't correlate, right? This doesn't correlate at all. Maybe I go with George Kittle there instead. But this is where you could pay up as well. So, like, another, obviously, lineup variation we could go with here. Pay down at tight end, maybe go with Taysom Hill. Hopefully he scores a touchdown again. DST-wise, again, we can go with the Bears. Simply, that's just, they're chalk as well. Then we have 5.8 left over. I'd be fine with Sutton then in this regard. Like, that's fine. This works. So with that, guys, we'll jump into the 9-to-5 lineup builder, show you guys what that's spitting out to us. But first, do I remind you guys of the promo code that's currently going on the 9-to-5 website. Use the promo code KEEPCASH and you get 20% off your first 9-to-5 membership, or your if you're signing up again when you reactivate your membership, get the first month for $8 when you use that promo code. So take advantage of that, guys. Great deal. Gives you access to the cheat sheet I was just showing you guys, as well as the NFL lineup optimizer that we're going to show you right now. So I do just want to see kind of what it's spitting out to us right now. I'm just going to round up here with some of the projections. We need to give it 2 data points to go off of, so that's all I'm doing right now. And I just want to see what it's telling us is the best lineup right now. And so here we go. We got the lineups, and so I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so you guys can see. Brock Purdy, okay, so right on par there. Alvin Kamara, Bijan Robinson, it likes a little bit more. Then it's going DeAndre Hopkins, Jalen McMillan. So again, it's an easy sub, guys. I might honestly create a rule where, we're going into the settings here, and we're creating a rule just so we can swap it. If you guys are someone that maybe doesn't pay that much attention, to the stuff where, we're doing maybe a player group where when a lineup includes Jalen McMillan and Sterling Shepard, you want at most one of those players. You don't want those two together, and just save that. And so that just ensures that we're not going to be double dipping there. I think that's a decent route to go about it, but getting back into it. So you can just easily swap that then if McMillan is ruled out. Did go with Hunter Henry, and then double tight end. Again, a simple rule that I typically like to do in the settings tab is actually make the tight end position flex ineligible. And so let's kind of just go through this, what I'm going to do here. So tight end going to be flex ineligible. That's a simple one. If you're trying to build higher floor builds, you could just do receiver as well. I don't think we need to do that. I'm going to do max exposure about 35% for this slate. I don't really care about total unique players or max from teammates this slate, but I am curious. Let's see if we do 100% total ownership, what it spits out to us as like a chalky build. Probably already one that we just had. Yeah, never mind, because that's most of the builds. Most of the builds are pretty chalky right now. So maybe we cap it at 100% instead of doing the min there, because that's the exact same lineup basically. So yeah, let's actually do that once real quick. So max of 100% exposure, because every single lineup I just did was about a max of was over 100. So let's just see here. And so yeah, just slightly under that, but it is going with Sam Darnold, Kamara, Bijan Robinson, Jefferson, so it's naturally doing the stack. Trey Palmer, I don't mind Trey Palmer. I might actually I might do that rule with McMillan where I don't want those two together, but it is going Wilson, Hunter Henry. So Hunter Henry, decent value, and then Chargers DST. Interesting there. I don't mind that. So one other thing, I'm going to take that 100 out. And what I'm going to do is position stack. So yeah, quarterback, I want to stack with my receivers. I think that's pretty good there with same team, and I'm good with that. And so that's really the only other thing that I'm going to do. Now, what I will do as well is I'll do something like this where if I'm doing like a player group stack, like let's say when lineups include Sam Darnold, I would lock him into, 15% of builds, let's say. And then I would just kind of say, I want at least like probably 3 of it would be Aaron Jones, because I do think that that's a unique stack. And then Hawkinson, then obviously Justin Jefferson. And then you could also toss in like Jordan Addison as well. Something like that. And then that's my way of stacking. I just think for me, it's easier to use the lineup optimizer that way. Then I could also do it with Brock Purdy, where I'd then be locking in Brock Purdy and generate about 20 builds. But let's just show you guys what the ownership is right now without doing that. I'm going to take those two out real quick. I'm going to delete that. And I just want to show you guys 150 lineups, what that's spitting out to us naturally. And oh boy, I accidentally did 1,500. That's going to take a while. That's not fun. I'm going to wait here a second. You guys won't see. 1 sec. All right. So it is done. That actually didn't take too long. It only took like a minute and a half, which nice. So I did want to show you guys kind of the exposure. So it is getting to more of Aaron Jones now, which I do find interesting. Then Alvin Kamara. It does like DeAndre Hopkins a lot. McMillan's getting in there. Bijan Robinson. So it likes Bijan Robinson maybe a little bit more than I do. And it also likes Christian McCaffrey a little bit more than I do. I would rather get to Saquon Barkley more so than those guys. But I'm kind of fine with it. Matt Collins, I disagree with. I kind of get it. Given the fact that Coleman's out, I kind of get it. Given the pricing. But no, I don't want to do that. I would rather go with Parker Washington. So that's something I'll do there. Let's see here. Any other surprises? It is getting to a decent amount of Herbert, Johnston stacks, which I'm okay with. I think that makes sense. Getting to a lot of Josh Downs, getting to a lot of DeAndre Swift, so at least on par there. It's all right. I kind of get it. So that works, guys. But that's going to be all for this video. Again, make sure you use the promo code Keep Cash, and if you guys want to sign up for that membership. But that's going to be all, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck with your lineups this week and the main slate lineups as well. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. That does help out a lot. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, let's keep cashing.